Welcome back, Summiters, to week 5 of the Summit Premier League. I'm your host, Gar Goomba, and with me today is another caster of mine, Chung. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice meeting you. Glad to be here. Happy to fill in and get this going. Game of the spiel. I'm excited to see what we're gonna see on the Rift here for tonight.
Exactly. And speaking of content that we're going to be watching tonight, today's game is going to be between Chill Guys and Anglers Won't Back Down. Now we do have Chill Guys who are down a series. They still haven't played one, so they could be pretty good contenders, but right now they're kind of sitting around the bottom of the pack. But I think all their players are really solid. Their ADC being Goblin is a pretty proficient player, and pairing him up with a pretty reliable support seeker, I think if Chill Guys are playing towards their bot lane, I think they'll do a really good job. On the flip side, we do have Anglers Won't Back Down, who are still struggling to try to find their footing. They did get another point last week, so they're on the board with 2 points. Uh, but there's still some growing pains, obviously, there. But I think if we can rely on Gumby power to get online, and hopefully Comet's able to get some sort of lead bot lane, even if it is going to be a difficult matchup for them, I think they could be able to pull out a reverse sweep, or even just an upset 2-0. You'll never know.
Yeah, definitely going to be interesting. Definitely looking at Goblin in this spot lane, but the other pivotal matchup I think is going to be between Won't Back Down and Gix in the jungle with how pivotal role that jungle is. We see the Diana being locked in early for Chill Guys. Definitely an interesting choice. I do think the champion is in a relatively good state in the game right now. Definitely helps you branch out into more AD picks for your mid and top if you want to do that because you have that AP source in the jungle. And then we're getting the Ash pick for Anglers Won't Back Down. I still think she's a super solid AD carry, especially with the buffs that came in recently. Getting that bonus increased damage on all of her abilities really helps her actually have that kill threat that it felt like was lacking from this character from a long time, but always good for the setup for ganks with the CC that she does provide. And paired up with a Nautilus, it's a pretty potent 2v2 that can actually put out a lot of pressure that people don't expect. But if Ash does fall behind, she'll always be effective with that enchanted crystal arrow if they are hitting. So definitely a smart choice for Anglers Won't Back Down on Common Cruiser since they do have that tough matchup into Goblin.
Oh, and Chill Guys might be opting for a Cog Lulu pickup here if they want to. Yeah, those Ash buffs are pretty significant. For those who aren't aware, she has pretty much increased AD ratio on her Q. She's got 10% additional AD ratio on her W, and her ulti got a pretty sizable buff too. So she's been gonna be a lot more prevalent in these future matches here. Uh, I will say the Cassiopeia pickup here is definitely not something I was expecting, but I'm excited to see. Just going off of the fact that the mid laner Gumby Power likes to play a lot of mobile assassins, and that Cassiopeia in a vacuum should be able to shut all of that down.
Yeah, I do think that picking up the Cassiopeia is definitely interesting, especially after you already locked the Kog'Maw, who does do a good portion of that AP damage just because of the innate scaling that his abilities do have. And it's also just an interesting pick when that Lulu was already banned away by Anglers Won't Back Down. So really curious to see what type of enchanter they want to pair with Kog'Maw. It doesn't always have to be that. I know for a while Braum was a really good pairing with Kog'Maw. You kind of just played turret Kog'Maw where you would pop your W and just assault people from 30 yards away and get the stun procs and deal a lot of damage in the team fights that way. But he'll have to play really safe in these team fights with the amount of CC that anglers have already drafted, locking in that Malzahar in the mid lane. So it could be really difficult for Goblin to do what he wants to if he isn't positioned well and gets caught out by any of the CC out of these first 3 picks that anglers won't back down have drafted here.
So we do see Braum being banned for Anglers Won't Back Down, and the Gwen response ban from Chill Guys. Now, I will say the Malzahar pickup definitely doesn't seem in line with what Gumby Power normally plays. Uh, Word on the street is they might be doing a pretty sizable role swap. Uh, I won't leak on who it is if the streets are correct, but if the lane swap is actually happening and all of them are changing around their roles, Gumby is not playing Malzahar unless he's that desperate.
I mean, I do think Malzahar is a good champion in a vacuum, especially into the Cassiopeia matchup, just because you are able to space her a little bit thanks to your Voidlings, and the silence can be helpful if she ever gets that power to stick on you if she hits her first Q. But the spell shield really does help in that. And looking at the bans, like I said, I mentioned the Braum to pair up with the Kog'Maw, and Anglers won't back down, not letting that one be paired up. Also, Braum just innately counters Nautilus. He's really good in that matchup, and then Mbessa lock in. So Anglers won't back down, really just forefronting on the CC. They have pick potential on every single one of their characters here. So it could be a really rough game here for Goblin, like I said before, on this Kog'Maw if he is not positioned correctly. And I'm really curious to see where Chill Guys goes with the draft, because they're going to need a heavy AD source in the top lane. And with Mbessa being picked up and Renekton being, banned away, it's going to be kind of limited in what he wants to go if it's not like a Gnar or an Aatrox, but it's going to be a Poppy instead, which is good into the Mbessa matchup.
I mean, I think Poppy realistically should be good in Mbessa, but I will say there was a whole video between Nemesis and the Baus playing this matchup, and Poppy lost every single time. So it could be a pretty fake counter depending on how both these players play it. Uh, Not saying that they can't play to the level of, the Baus and Nemesis, but there's reasonable proof to show that Mbessa can win that lane pretty hard if played right.
I mean, it also is the Baus, who is the classic 0-10 power spike player. So, maybe he was testing the limits on that matchup, seeing how far down he can go and still beat the Mbessa. But it's just like in a vacuum, just because she has so many dashes and that steadfast presence on the Poppy. It's kind of why you see it starting to rise up in pro play as a pick into the like Cassante and the likes of that. But then the Milio, the Enchanter that wants to go with the Kog'Maw, give him that bit of safety. And then another interesting jungle pick here in the Hecarim. So we got two power farming junglers who really want to hit that level 6, but also do have the potential to get off those early ganks just because of the gank power they have with the kits involved, and especially with some CC that they have out of their laners. Could be possible, but I really don't expect to see much action out of these two junglers until we are hitting those level 6 and we're looking at like first grub fights and stuff like that.
Yeah, I agree. I will say that the Hecarim will probably have a much easier time at least ganking mid lane, just because of Malzahar's level 6 just sets up a lot of easy things for Hecarim. Uh, but I do agree that I think the biggest interaction we'll see from both junglers is probably going to be Krug's fight, because I think both, or at least English Won't Back Down, really wants to have the ability to split push with the Grubs, especially with having in the strong side lane in Mbessa. Uh, but Diana also just clears super fast, and I feel like she'll have the amount of speed to actually contest the Grubs. It really has to amount to who values the Grubs more, and whether or not they're going to send their supports and or bot lane to match that.
Yeah, I mean, it really does depend on, if they want the Milio roaming up for that first set of grubs and leaving the Kog'Maw vulnerable. But it's also gonna just be hard for Chill Guys, I feel, as a whole with the draft they have. They have such limited CC and engage options. If they're not really hitting a huge Petrifying Gaze or a nice Diana Moonfall, it's gonna be really rough. But their re-engage can be good, like for the same reason, if you get that Petrifying Gaze off on multiple targets. But Anglers Won't Back Down has 5 forms of CC on every single champion that they have. So they always have a go button, even if somebody's is on cooldown at the time. So it really is all on how Chill Guys positions around these fights and how they set up on these neutral objectives. So, I mean, I think they are the favorite teams here, just knowing about, both teams we have tonight. So it's going to really be on them to show us that they can execute on a draft like this in comparison, while Anglers Won't Back Down have the easier form of a draft here.
Right, I agree, and I'm definitely excited to see who gets to pull out ahead in this game one, because I think whoever wins this game one is definitely going to have the mental edge over the other team, and that can prove to be lethal. But we're going to send it to a break. We'll wait for the spectator delay to come up, and we'll see you then. Hello, Summit Esports, and welcome to Game 1 between Chill Guys and the Anglers Won't Back Down. Uh, Nothing too crazy, but yeah, we're ready to see these two teams duke it out. I'm Garagumba, and with me today is Cheong, and we're gonna have a wonderful time tonight.
Yeah, should be really good. The series ahead of us, I'm really excited for it. Hoping we get all 3 games because that's always the best way to play League of Legends. But, the one thing that's sticking out to me right now is this Phase Rush Ghost Cassiopeia in the mid lane for Cisco. Normally, I've seen like Conqueror on this Cassiopeia more often than not. But I guess the Phase Rush to be able to kite out the Hecarim gank and the Malzahar, but also only having 1 TP can be a little bit rough in the competitive scene. As we see, Cassiopeia just getting some free damage onto Gumby Power here in the jungle, and just gonna take some free damage there, stacking up that early tier that they chose to go for.
Yeah, not exactly the greatest start you want to be as Gumby, considering you probably didn't even know they were invading that early, but I do think the phase rush from the Cassiopeia is fine just because she doesn't really want to be trading into Malzahar, Ashe, or Nautilus at ever point of the game. So having the phase rush lets her get away from all these like pick threats on their team, and I think that's a pretty solid choice.
Yeah, I definitely see the why it can be good, and I understand it, but it's definitely not a choice you see often. So hopefully Cisco is able to pilot this one and make it work. But just looking over a few things, we see Gix choosing to go with that no potion jungle start. A lot of junglers do. It gives you that free extra 50 gold to help you get to that first item faster. And if you're clearing correctly, you never really need to use a pot on your jungle clear. You're normally just popping it when you go to get a gank or you're fighting the enemy jungler somewhere. And then also, what's interesting is Goblin not going with the cleanse. I know he's got the Milio in his back, but if he is too far away from Seeker on this Milio and gets caught out by the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, that just could spell a gray screen for him.
Well, knowing Goblin, I know that he hates being on a cleanse bot, so I'm sure the barrier is just supposed to let him live longer during team fights, especially in situations where he should be getting hit by the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. The Pocket Seeker Milio, he's mostly playing for that ultimate, as you said, so I mean, he knows how to position well. I think he went straight too far from his support, but with how susceptible Nautilus is, considering that you can't even cleanse any of his CC besides his auto anyways, I don't think the cleanse is super necessary. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. This top lane situation's kind of rough. We do have Poppy having her wave slow push towards the red side, but it's currently in a pretty bad spot right now, so that's important to watch out.
Oh, we get a little bit of trading up here in the top lane. Local Poke again, a nice bit of damage. A nice hook there by We Won't Back Down onto the Milio, but gets kicked right back by the Q from Milio. And then Cisco again, a lot of damage out there, hitting the Miasma into the Twin Fangs. Always an easy trade there for Cassiopeia when it's available.
Yeah, and as you can see, that phase rush just made it super hard for Sneaker to actually do anything. The Hecarim game.
Yeah,
Not
Gumby
really
Power. I mean, he gets the flash out of Cisco here, so it could be a little bit easier to get that re-gank later on in the lane, especially since Gumby Power did not use that ghost. But you did mention it in the champ select that we might get some role swaps out here, and it looks like Won't Back Down, not playing jungle here, playing in the support role, but Loco Poco getting a nice steadfast presence there when they try to get that onslaught in, and some good damage on the Goblin. They could be in a lot of trouble down here in the bot lane. Won't Back Down, gets the Ignite on the Goblin. Gonna flash forward from Cosmic Power. Goblin gonna have to flash away the heal, burned by Seeker Barrier as well. Knocked back, and they're looking to go for the trade, but another hook and by Won't Back Down. Goblin still pressing forward. Secret does have that mana to support his Kog'Maw here, and Goblin's going to get the first blood. What a turnaround by this bot lane.
Yeah, this Kog'Maw was facing really well, even though the Nautilus hook initially started the entire thing. The Wild Time Flash, like, the Ashe wasn't able to catch up to the lane at all, and Kog'Maw was just able to free hit with that.
Oh, so close up there in top lane. Loco Poco almost getting that solo kill. Maybe if he had the passive up for that shield toss, maybe flashing forward for it, but they're going to look for a dive here. Gix is here, flash forward by Loco Poco, but a nice flash away by Injustice, getting the 30,000 dashes that Mbessa has built into her kit, and gets both flashes out of Gix and Loco Poco up there in the top lane, and gets out of it.
Yeah, it's super well played from Injustice, being able to make she knew that Steadfast Presence was on cooldown because of the Hecarim gank, so just being able to get away from that without Poppy stopping it was just really well. Especially considering that she Mbessa flashed the charge from Poppy, preventing her from getting stunned is what really made her stay alive there. I'm gonna go back though. The Cassiopeia still has flash. He only turned the ghost there, so it is still pretty difficult for Hecarim to gank at this time. But Malzahar will be level 6 right now, and that can be pretty easy stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it can be, especially, yeah, like you said, now that Malzahar is that level 6. But, you know, Locopoco took a bad reset after trying for that tower dive, didn't crash the wave, but able to pick up most of the CS right in front of his turret. Comet Cruiser on that recall, not really much going to be happening down there in the bot lane for right now. We see them clearing wards, maybe setting up for vision around this early dragon and not going for the grubs here. But we see Git starting to shoot towards the mid lane as we get a little bit of trading up here in the top, but nothing going to come from mid lane. Cisco looking to back off, possibly get a reset in here, or just playing safe, not knowing exactly where Gumby Power is on the map.
And it looks like both teams are going to be prioritizing opposite objectives, with Gummy Power wanting to go for the grubs, while Diana wants to look for either bot play or this dragon. We do have Poppy roaming because of the wave state being in a pretty awkward spot for Injustice right now. So she's able to spot the ward onto his grubs, and they now know that Hecarim is on top of it. But with Malzahar being here already and Mbessa being able to roam over, this might be a really bad spot for Locopoco.
Yeah, Locopoco getting flashed on here by the Malzahar, getting ulted, the public execution going in, but we got a lot of damage coming out here from Cisco. Locopoco able to pick up the kill onto Malzahar, and this Cassiopeia is getting damage out, but the issue with an early Cassiopeia is she doesn't have mana, but Goblin, Seeker, and Gix all up here in the top lane, looking to stop those grubs. Not even one goes down. What a play out of Locopoco and Cisco here to turn that 2v3 into a positive play for them, and now they're going to pick up the grub. A little bit of pressure in the bot lane for Comet Cruiser, going to pick up a plate here for themselves. So overall, really good play out of Chill Guys, and a nice rotation by their bot lane.
Yeah, Chill Guys set it up perfectly. They had Goblin and Sneaker shove in the wave to make it crash, so that Comet and Lime will back down are prevented from roaming up to follow up with that. And even though they were able to catch the Poppy out there with the public execution of Malzahar ulti, like, Poppy's so tanky, and it just let Cassiopeia get a free petrifying gaze on all 3 of them. So being able to cook them while Mbessa's stuck in the miasma is just really bad for English won't back down.
Yeah, and then you see Seeker and Goblin pressuring Gumby Power on his red buff there, forcing him to ghost away, and Gix able to pick that one up. And because of the bot lane rotating up here, they're going to take over mid-wave control for this wave, as Locopoco is going to try to push in this bot wave. But Gix is going on into Gumby Power. He gets the ultimate down. He's going to flash forward, but the onslaught of shadows onto Gix is going to get traded. But that is feat of warfare going over to Chill Guys. What a play by Gix to just turn that one onto Gumby when he tried to go for those Raptors.
Yeah, the Gix knew his power spike there, even with just the Faded Ashes. Like, he did a lot of damage on top of Hecarim. And even though Hecarim did play it really well with getting the fear towards towers to turn 1-for-1, that's just going to be putting Gumby Power farther and farther behind, because not only was his red taken from that earlier invade from his top side, but Diana also took all the Raptors there, so Hecarim's going to be feeling this gold deficit a little bit.
Yeah, and also just looking at the wave states, I feel like right now, Chill Guys is kind of happy with how they are, because like the bot lane of English Won't Back Down can't really engage on the Locopoco because that Steadfast Presence would be able to attempt to kite out, but the slows from Ash can make it difficult. But now we're going to see the resets here. Locopoco going to walk towards this mid lane, probably try to pick up these minions that are at the tower right now, and then go back up the top lane after Cisco had pushed that one in, as you see him roaming back down here to the mid lane. So overall, that Grubs play was fine for them because they were able to just catch the waves in different states of the map and be able to pick up all the XP they needed. But they're going on the Goblin here. We see the ultimate at Nautilus. The Arcane Crystal Arrow is going in, but Gumby Power is here. Goblin flashing away, looking to play forward. We see a TP channel coming out here. Goblin trying to kite out here with Seeker. Seeker getting hooked, but Goblin popping the barrier is getting low, gets ignited. We see the Won't Back Down, flashing forward, going right onto Goblin. Seeker goes down to Comet Cruiser, and Locopoco going to try to pick this one up. The passive coming out here out of Kog'Maw, getting Cosmic Power low, but Locopoco still going on to Won't Back Down. Gix is here. They're going to look to pick that one up. Oh, Cisco's there on the top side. Gets the shutdown onto Ash, and then pick up the kill onto Won't Back Down is Gix and Locopoco. So they get a 3 for 2 in the bot lane, and they're gonna get probably Dragon off this. It looks like nope, they're gonna just take resets. Injustice gonna get another plate up here in the top wave, but with no TP, he might be able to just try to get 2, but he's not gonna probably greed for it, get the wave, gonna back out and go spend that gold. So overall, Chill Guys getting that one. A nice turnaround by Anglers won't back down though.
Yeah, that's 5. All 5 members of Chill Guys showed up in the bot lane. It was only been 10 minutes, but even though Comet Cruiser did get a double kill bot lane, and that put him on top of a Kraken Slayer, so it's not the best situation for them to have been in, but at the very least, with the trait that they have, Comet Cruiser is feeling pretty strong with that 2-1 lead now. It definitely just looked really awkward for English won't back down during that fight. We saw Hecarim was not looking to fight on the Kog'Maw, even though I won't back down was trying to do his best to keep autoing Goblin over and over again. So it definitely seemed super, like, not on the same page for that fight. So by the time the teleport came down, everyone kind of just committed to making sure Goblin and Seeker both died. And it ended up getting those 2 kills, but it's everyone rotating for bot side, they quite a bit for it.
Yeah, and I mean, it was really well played by Goblin and Seeker because you see from high-level AD carries, they're able to get that auto spacing out, every step they're taking, like turning around, getting those auto attacks in. So Goblin got out a lot of return damage before he even went down, before the PTs even came in for his team. And him and Seeker almost turned that one, but Loco Poco going to take a lot of damage here from Injustice. See Gummy Power going in, the Onslaught of Shadows, the public execution. Loco Poco going to flash away. The silence from Malzahar does not come out in time. And Loco Poco burns 2 ultimates for a flash, and it looks like the Grubs are going. We see an Arcane Crystal Arrow stopping Goblin on the recall. But it doesn't really matter. The Grubs picked up here. It's 5-1 on the Grubs. It's not the full 6, so they're not going to get the objective bounty for that one. But 5 Grubs pushing power with a Kog'Maw can be pretty volatile when they start to siege on these turrets.
Yeah, and that is going to be 5 Grubs over to Chill Guys, so they're going to be pretty happy when leaking happens and they get a return kill and are able to shut down 5 stations in the mid lane. English won't back down, definitely going to have to slow this game down a bit. I thought the Poppy would have been a free catch, but Malzahar wasn't able to ulti the Poppy before she flashed over the wall. So, what could have been just a free kill and out didn't end up with anything in their favor. So, kind of sucks for them, but we do have a bot lane pick possibly happening right now.
The Goblin and Seeker here, went back down, gets the hook in. Loco Poco gets the dash forward onto Comet Crusader through, won't back down, and he's going to go low, but Comet Crusader, not having to burn the barrier there, gets out. Goblin and Seeker trying for that flank play, got a good amount of damage down, but nothing comes out of it in the end. Oh, Cisco flashing forward, but Gumby Power is here. They're going to get the shutdown onto him. He thought he had the damage output, but Injustice was able to get out of the miasma, get the flash away and a dash away, and Juggler, right place, right time, able to pick that one up.
Yeah, we have a teleport coming from Savior, but he doesn't really have any
down. We see Loco Poco here, but Injustice TP's in right off the recall. Goblin is going to be in a lot of trouble here. We see the ultimate come out of Malzahar onto Loco Poco. Malzahar is probably going to go down here to the Kog'Maw passive, but Imbessa picks up that kill. Oh, and almost mastering took out of won't back down onto Seeker there. And what could have been disastrous actually turns out to a good play thanks to Injustice TP. And this is going to be first turret going over here to Anglers won't back down in the bot lane.
Yeah, they sent 5 players. I won't back down. Sent 4 players down bot lane. They kind of learned from what
Gix is going in on Gumby Power here. They're getting a lot of damage, but the Onslaught of Shadows is there. But Gix has the follow-up dash onto a flash forward and gets the solo bolo, even though Cisco ghosted to try to get the assist on that one.
Diana's really strong, guys, I guess. I thought with the Eclipse lead that Hecarim had, he would have been able to out-kite the Diana, but Diana just does quite a bit of damage, and Gix was able to reset all of his dashes there, so you saw him dash 4 times during that fight, and Hecarim was just not able to run away from any of it. So really well played from that. English won't back down, definitely are starting to feel the pain of losing a bit of early gold, but they are technically up right now thanks to the first tower that they got, so still an even game. Everyone is still kind of consistent with each other, but it's really just a sizable difference between top lane for I Won't Back Down versus Chill Guys mid lane being up gold.
Yeah, and I mean, Gix really showing us that he knows how to pilot this Diana champion, really, getting the maximum value of that dash reset if you hit somebody with your Q, and being able to just stick on Gumby power even through the ultimate. I had to burn the flash to get the kill in the end, but I think, Gix is going to be happy with that because this Diana kind of has to get super far ahead in the early game to be effective in the late game and have that huge burst damage that we know her for. So Gix sitting at 3-1, he's really on pace to be that menace in the late game to just one-shot anybody in the back line.
Yeah, I will say the itemization from Mbessa right now is definitely leaning more towards a cruiser just because Nautilus would be the only real front line for Azure Home Back Down. And that Phage is probably going to go to a receiver as well, which I'm not exactly sure if that's going to be the right play.
Oh, Goblin
We do
getting
have
the
a fight
depth
break
charge
now.
onto him. He gets the hook in. Oh my gosh, Gumby Power is here, but so is Gix getting a huge moonfall. Comet Cruiser going to have to flash away. Goblin is super low, goes down to Gumby Power, but so does Comet Crusader to the Gix Diana. And Gumby Power going to go down to the auto from Seeker on the Milio thanks to the passive from Goblin. So a 2-for-1 at the end of the day in favor of Chill Guys, and that also gives them the tempo to walk over to this Rift Herald. But Injustice and the rest of the team are not backing down from this one. Savior roamed all the way up here, but in the meantime, Cisco getting a lot of pressure down here on this bot, so he's going to pick that one up for himself. And we're going to have another fight at this Rift Herald. We see Injustice starting to pause here, but one back down is super low, but Savior is here now. They're going to have to look to lock down Gix because that is the main source of damage right now, but it looks like Chill Guy is going to back away from this one, not wanting to risk the fight, knowing they don't have a lot of ultimates here or the firepower to fight right now if one of them gets locked down.
Yeah, and Goblin was able to get towards the mid lane first, so if Nomad Count didn't back down, he probably would have been in a really bad spot, and that would have been the free Herald. So at the very least, the pressure they exuded through that river entrance prevented them from being able to just take the Rift Herald for free. But it's still super dangerous for Back Down team to actually like contest properly, especially since how squishy Hecarim is. If he doesn't blow up his Kog'Maw immediately, no one's going to be able to reach him, and that's kind of just how they've been playing it. And heck, even with them on top of it, Diana and Cassiopeia are just cooking their backline as well.
Yeah, I mean, that fight was even without Cassiopeia there. Cisco in the bot lane the whole time. He picked up that turret for himself. And Rift Herald not going to be the focus here for Chill Guys. Looks like they're going to sneak into this Dragon Pit and try to take it without anybody on the side of Anglers. Won't back down to go in, but because Cisco walks forward, he gets seen on the ward. He's going to get a lot of damage onto One Back Down. Misses the Petrifying Gaze. One Back Down gets the flash away because of that one. The Gumby Power coming in. We see TP fly across the screen. We get the Enchanted Crystal Arrow hit onto Goblin. A big depth charge, but down goes One Back Down. We see Gumby Power in the back line, picks up a kill. Another kill. Goblin and Seeker both down. Local Pogo trying to go crazy. Gets locked up by that Nether Grasp. It's still another kill here. 2 kills. A nice ultimate by the Mbessa. Gix trying to kite this one out. Savior going in, but Mbessa flashing forward, going in. Cisco trying to turn this one onto Savior. Gix is going to go down to Injustice, and Cisco trying to get there, but Gix flashes forward, gets the dash on, gets away from Injustice. Cisco going crazy. He's got the blue buff. He has the movement speed. He's going to try to chase down Injustice here and pick up that last kill. Hits another Q, gets the movement speed again, is looking for that Twin Fang, misses the Q. So Injustice gonna get out of this one, and what a chaotic fight over the dragon that ends up going over to Chill Guys.
Yeah, both teams had really good setup there. Hecarim was able to get like a 3-man, 4-man fear at there, but with Poppy isolating Comet Cruiser from the entire fight, as well as just making sure that I Won't Back Down was chunked at the very beginning, it was just a recipe for disaster. And Injustice, despite the fact that he TP'd to get to the fight, he went through the... I'm not sure if he went to the Dragon Pit ward or if he went to the...
Cisco gets a nice Petrifying Gaze here onto Comet Cruiser, but gets hooked in. It doesn't matter. Goblin now trying to 1v1 Gumby right now, and he's going to win it. But now Won't Back Down is going to be in trouble. He's getting chased down by this Cassiopeia and gets the double kill. Seeker really there to help his mid laner, but now Goblin could be in trouble. Gix is here to back him up, and that is just a 3 kills there for Chill Guys. 1 in the top, 2 in the mid, and Loco Poco tried to get to Savior, but not going to fancy this one right now.
Oh no, guys. We're losing on every lane. We can't be doing that. No, but well played from Chill Guys, being able to get all these isolated fights into their favor. Cassiopeia returning 1 for 2. Or not even dying, it was just 2 kills for them. And then Goblin being able to 1v1 Gumby just because his build is super squishy, uh, just puts a lot of pressure back onto English won't back down. They're not able to really set up for any of these objectives at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's rough when you're getting picked off, especially when your jungler is top lane, losing that 1v1 to Goblin, who really doesn't have any healing items besides that Doran's Blade. So Goblin, once again, showing off that he knows how to kite on this champion. And, oh, the public display is going in. Cisco gets the Enchanted Crystal Arrow onto him, and he's just down the CC combo from the side of Anglers Won't Back Down, able to pick up that big shutdown onto Cisco in the top lane.
What a nice shot from Common Cruiser. Why can't he do that in my games? I'm kidding. But, no, that was a super good ulti. We had Injustice hiding in the top bush, waiting for Cisco to walk up too far. And with the public execution, it was just a free setup for everyone, or Gumby and Injustice to finish that off.
Yeah, I mean,
they aren't able to pull the Otacon just because of the way that they're posturing in every single lane, but I think Red Otacon's kind of fake to do this early anyways.
I think all Otacons are fake to do this early until like Baron or you're like closer to Soul Point. I feel like the amount of damage it does is really scary, but so far Injustice is really showing up on this Mbessa, kind of the X factor for Anglers Won't Back Down. We saw like in that team fight at the Dragon Pit what he was able to do with the kit, and then also getting that nice pick onto Cisco. Injustice playing really well on this Mbessa so far. He's sitting at 4-0-1. Has that gold bounty sitting on him, so he's going to be a threat to Goblin and the rest of the back line in these later game fights. As they're going mid lane, Goblin is the focus again. We get the depth charge onto him, a nice eject onto Won't Back Down, but it doesn't matter. Goblin's already down, a huge ultimate from Gix. They're able to trade back too. Comet Cruiser is down. Goblin doesn't even die in the process. Only Seeker goes down, and what a turn by Chill Guys, and they're going to pick up this mid-tier 1 turret and look to start pressuring further. They're popping the Herald. Dragon spawning soon. They're running up top lane. They're going to get wins all over the map now.
Yeah, that isn't really a fight you want to be taking as Anglers Won't Back Down. Injustice's top lane and resetting by the time that fight was happening. The only carry during these fights isn't even there to begin with. So with Hecarim and Ashe being super squishy and unable to actually stay in a fight for longer than 3 seconds, I think it's just top lane. If you're not able to blow up these backliners, like, you really shouldn't be taking those fights. And they kind of just redid what happened to the dragon fight, and as you saw, like, Chill Guys gets away with just 1 death on their team for almost everyone on their team.
Yeah, I mean, despite Goblin being the focus in most of these fights, he has been kiting out really well, especially with Seeker being that back pocket Milio, getting nice final breaths to cleanse all that CC from him so he can continue to be that artillery barrage that we know Kog'Maw to be and be able to kite out in these fights has really been working well for Chill Guys. And like I mentioned in the draft, the re-engage that they have between the Gix, Moonfall, and Cisco Petrifying Gaze can be really hard for Anglers Won't Back Down if they don't get that initial pick burst to be able to continue fighting in these team fights.
We do have the Baron spawning in a minute, as well as the Infernal Drake that's currently up, so depending on how they want to posture, I feel like Chill Guys are looking to get their soul right now. Actually, no, they're not even at soul, it's the visual indicator here. But
that's the
it is a really
visual indicator.
Oh, okay. But, you know, they're conceding Dragon, which is not something that I thought we would be, considering Chill Guys was there first to begin with. They are trying to push out mid lane as fast as possible.
Oh no, Cisco
it looks like Gix might be caught out here.
Cisco and Gix might be caught out here, but Cisco looking to turn this one. Flashes the Enchanted Crystal Arrow from Comet Cruiser. Gix trying to kite this one out the best he can, getting slowed up, smited, and they're going to go on Gix, but he just has a retreat. But Gix going back in on them, gets the burst of the Comet Cruiser, gets the burn through the Leandries, and is able to pick that one up. But in the meantime, we see Seeker and Goblin just pushing down Main Street, gonna take this inhibitor turret, and Cisco not looking to cancel recalls just yet, going in there and tries to get one back down at the end there. But also in the meantime, top lane, we see Loco Poco trying to get this turret, Goblin rotating over, and I mean, that's a kill onto the AD carry and just the withdrawal thanks to that Otacon buff here for Chill Guys, and they're gonna take this dragon. Cisco already on it, gonna go down in favor and put Chill Guys onto Soul Point.
Yeah, Chill Guys did probably what highly required to do.
Anglers just looking, they're going in on the Seeker and Goblin, but a huge steadfast presence It's gonna go down, won't back down, goes down. They're trying to kite this one out. Goblin kiting out the best he can. Keeps going. The Pocket Milio is there to kill him, but the double withdraw. But they get the kill on 2-3, and then another one. Man, that is what a turn by both sides there. Honestly, they're able to pick up one back down, Savior and Gumby just for 3 withdraws, and that was a 3v4, and really well played by Chill Guys to be able to do that.
Yeah, that was honestly impressive. I'm surprised both Seeker and Goblin died to a single volley, but it's still an Otacon death, even though it is 200 gold, like, is not as substantial as just outright dying like Anglers Won't Back Down's team did, and they might be prepping for this Baron with how fast they're able to get on top of this map.
Yeah, I mean, there's no vision on it for Anglers Won't Back Down, and because you have Goblin, he just shreds this Baron buff. You see Gumby going towards the bot lane. This is going to be a free Baron because Anglers Won't Back Down have no idea this is happening. So really well macro play by Chill Guys. Get the indicator thanks to the Ash Hawk shot, but too little, too late. Baron over to Chill Guys.
And with that, that is a like nearly 8k gold lead for Chill Guys. Anglers Won't Back Down. If you want to stay in this game, we're definitely gonna have to figure out how to get up gold. Like, we can't be taking these fights constantly.
Cisco's on the prowl. Gumby gonna have to retreat from his own blue buff, and that's gonna go another, win for Chill Guys. But instead of that, they're kind of looking to catch Injustice out here. Cisco gets the Q, gets the Noxus Blast, getting the Twin Fangs. A nice miasma to cancel Injustice's dash kit. Has to flash away, but Gix is also here. Injustice goes down.
Oh my god, Injustice and Bessa could not do anything in the middle of the miasma. Maybe I got a pick as but yeah, that's a super important pick for them, as Mbessa was really the only person with a gold lead for Anglers Won't Back Down. And now that their main carry is gone, what's stopping them from just burning down this base? We have Hecarim backing in the top river bush, trying to get as much gold as possible, but it's not going to be enough to like stop the bleeding. And these Baron-powered minions are just going to shove down the base, especially with 5 grubs. Poppy is just doing his best to bother any team members for this mid inhibitor as he seems to volley. And then Won't Back Down just can't respond to it at all.
Yeah, and that Moonfall is back off cooldown for Gix here. Super low cooldown on this ultimate. He could look to pull the trigger and get this engage off when he wants to. But instead, they're looking to get that triple inhib thanks to the 5 grubs helping their Baron push here. And really well play here by Chill Guys. We saw that Anglers Won't Back Down, want to defend that tier 2 in the bot lane. But Gix and Cisco were on the opposite side, zoning out, Won't Back Down, and Comet Cruiser, so not even able to do that. So they're going to have to pick up this mid wave as the siege is going to start up here on the top wave. And Justice going to try to get some damage. Doesn't poke again. A nice little bit of trade there. Gets a nice W up. The Steadfast Presence stopping Justice from going. And luckily, Anglers Won't Back Down has some decent wave clear as Gix is playing Gumby Tower in the mid lane. And, thanks to Malzahar having some good wave clear, it's going to be a little bit longer for this 3rd inhibitor tower to go down in the top lane.
Yeah, it's the Baron's just doing so much work, especially since no one on Anglers Won't Back Down are actually able to stop the cannons from blasting the turret. And we have the junglers both fighting mid constantly. It's never been Gumby Power's fate.
Yeah, Gumby Power's not going to win that one. Gix is happy to take that fight every single time. And they're going to start sieging onto these Nexus turrets. It's going to be on Won't Back Down and the rest of the team to get the engagement they're looking for. But thanks to the supers in bot wave, it's going to be a little bit rough. We see the depth charge coming out onto 2. We see Gumby Tower coming in. A big onslaught of shadows is ejected by Loco Poco. And what a play by him. They're gonna take down the first turret. Oh, never mind. Comet Cruiser goes down, and so does Won't Back Down. It looks like they're gonna win this team fight and win the game. Every ultimate coming out here, but it's too little, too late. A full 5-4-0 ace here for Chill Guys, and gonna take game 1 here as the Nexus goes down.
What a game. Honestly, the early game was super back and forth between both teams. I felt like if one team actually snowballed during that dragon fight, I don't think they would have been in any position to lose at that point. And Chill Guys just kind of took that advantage and ran with it.
Yeah, I mean, the way they played not only that dragon fight, but some other crucial fights, especially around those grubs in the early game, was massive for them. And, played out a draft that I thought was a little bit harder to execute out extremely well and exactly how you wanted to see them pull that one off. Goblin, a focus of a lot of aggression out of Anglers won't back down, but it didn't matter thanks to that Seeker Milio and also the Loco Poco Poppy with that steadfast presence being a huge peel factor for their 80 carry. But Gix on this Diana was kind of putting on a masterclass for us of how to play these aggressive AP junglers.
Yeah, and you mentioned it before that like if Chill Guys has to do a lot of work to make their draft work, and it looks really good for them. So imagine what they could do with a more structured comp.
Yeah, I mean, overall, really well played by them. I mean, Anglers won't back down, had some nice angles in those fights, maybe just lacking a bit of that damage. If you like, your two main carries are kind of the Ash and Malzahar, they have low sustained damage. So it can be really hard to just burst those targets that Mbessa and Hecarim are trying to do that on. So, maybe we were looking at Anglers won't back down draft as the CC overlay and everything, able to pick that one off, but maybe just lacking that damage front to burst down Goblin on this Cog One Cisco on this Cassiopeia that ended up being the X factor in this game number one.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the end of game one. We will take it to a break as we wait for game two draft to start. So we'll see you all then. Welcome back, Summoners. Turns out that they're ready to start the next draft. No break for anybody, so let's get into it. We just came back from Chill Guys having a pretty dominating game one performance. It definitely was a little wishy-washy at the very beginning, especially with Injustice and uh, Comet getting quite a bit of a gold lead through some extra picks. But at the very end of the day, Chill Guys had a really good jungle presence, and Cisco was absolutely smurfing it on the Cassiopeia. And it's a new game, a clean slate. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, and I mean, Anglers already deciding they don't want to deal with what they just dealt with in the last draft. Goblin, no Kog'Maw for him. Cisco, no Cassiopeia for you either. And keeping that Lulu ban still away from Seekers. So chill guys might have to go with a little bit of a different angle, but instead, since they were on red side last time, they're taking blue this one. Gonna first pick that Corki that they banned away in the first game here.
And we do yeah, we have a Corki first pick, which I'm surprised they didn't pick it up the last game either, but I guess Comet is just feeling like he has to whip it out now. Like the Corki's an old reliable, and with how strong Corki is overall, uh, I think it's just a really good pick for him. We do have the Diana run back for Chill Guys. Gig's showing a lot of strength on it. I would have liked to see the Fiddlesticks pick considering it is a band, but no, Diana's just really strong, and he's kind of smurfing with it.
Is Gix also whipping that one out as well as Comet in the bot lane on this Corki? But
Yeah, probably. I'm, okay, you know what? Producer might be shooting lasers into my head right now, but we won't worry about that. Uh, but yeah, what do you think about these early picks so far, Chong?
I really do like the Jinx. She's kind of feels like the only crit marksman that works in the game right now, and that's because of her get excited passive. I think that thing is beyond busted. Just the fact that you can constantly reset in a team fight and get that insane attack speed and just basically take over an entire team fight after getting one kill or picking up one neutral objective or one turret, and it's really hard to be able to deal with sometimes. But the Alistair pickup, I think, is definitely an interesting choice here from Anglers. Going to try to keep Gix from getting onto the team with that Moonfall on the Diana. And then an early Gwen pickup here for Injustice in the top lane. But who knows? Maybe it could be Gumby Power in the jungle. But also wanted to keep the Goblin Jinx safe. Cho'Ga's going to pick up the Braum, who is a really good pairing for this Jinx character.
Yeah, we do have Anglers picking up Gwen, and we saw last game that they banned it. So I'm really excited to see what Gumby can do on the Gwen jungle. Unless Injustice is looking to play this Gwen top, I highly doubt it though. Uh, but I feel like with Gwen being a well-renowned power farming jungler, we're not going to see a lot of action from him early game unless it's just like a free kill. So we won't be seeing early ganks from the compared to like the Hecarim that we try to play out either mid lane or bot lane. But that may also just let anglers have a much more controlled game of not bleeding out kills randomly in the jungle. Uh, yeah, that's kind of where the state of the draft is right now.
Yeah, and then just banning away some strong top laners. It looks like they assume that this Gwen is going jungle as they banned away Garen. And Shogun's not wanting to deal with that Malzahar again. That seemed like it did give a few issues in that early game, especially in those early fights. Not wanting to deal with that again. So decided to ban that one away, not wanting to face that again. And then, the Gnar banned away from Locopoco up in this top lane. I think Gnar is definitely a strong character, and it's kind of similar to like the draft they played last time, where it's like you got to execute on this champion for it to work. And seeing what Chill Guys did last time, I assume that they would be able to do just that.
Yeah, and the Galio and Gnar bans just prevent the top lane and mid lane from having super safe picks overall. Uh, I'm curious to see what they're looking to draft top lane for the Narban. Obviously, it's going to be a pretty melee heavy matchup up there just because Gnar is super annoying and Loco has been known to play a lot of Gnar Kennen. We do have the Poppy coming back, which means there's not really a good chance for the Imbecile to shine here. So I'm wondering if Injustice is looking to play something like, I don't know, maybe Aatrox or something. Something that just like does not care about getting CC'd.
Yeah, and I do think the Poppy pick is also another good angle here into what, funny enough, Anglers has drafted. It's good into the Gwen, it's good into the Alistair, really stops them from having that sticking power. And also, it's good into the Cassandra that Anglers is willing to pick into this matchup. So who knows? Maybe Injustice able to get off to that early lead, but maybe transition it into a team win for Anglers here on this Cassandra.
Yeah, the Cassante definitely is a little rough into the Poppy matchup. Just because like his I forgot what the W is called in Cassante, but basically as soon as the unstoppable ends, the dash goes out. Poppy can just use her steadfast presence to stun him up, and he's just not able to move for the rest of the fight. So, depending on how well Injustice wants to pilot Cassante, this may not be a problem at all, and he's just going to beat Pop down with a bunch of Natofo strikes. Uh, but Loco has shown really good mechanics on the Poppy, so that might not even be the case. The Xerath pickup is definitely going to be a fun one to look at. If we thought Malzahar wasn't going to be touched, we know the Xerath definitely isn't going to be touched by Diana super easily. But the Vex counter pick may just be the answer that Shield guys need to get on top of their backline.
Yeah, I mean, I think Vex can be super good in some team fight, in just the game in general. Really a niche counter pick, very upfront burst, but like Riot likes to keep her. I feel like Riot keeps her nerfed, and it feels like even if she is fed, it's really hard to still get that burst onto characters sometimes. But after watching how Cisco played that Cassiopeia, I don't think I'm gonna be worried so much about their, you know, skill level on this Vex. I feel like they're gonna be able to show up on this champion.
Yeah, I definitely think Chill Guys definitely has a much more straightforward, I want to go into your team and good luck trying to live type comp. And if Jinx gets a reset, Vex also gets a reset, and assuming they ult the same target, but that's going to be a recipe for disaster if Anglers isn't going to be able to respond to that.
Yeah, I mean, I think once again the onus is kind. I feel like Chill Guys has the easier to execute draft this time, just because if Diana gets in, Braum can follow up and hit a nice glacial fissure onto multiple targets. But I feel like Anglers has that little bit of beefier front line because they have the Kasante. Alistair, if he does proc, his ultimate is able to, tank up a lot more damage and deal with the CC that can come out from Chill Guys. So I think Anglers, it's going to be, the onus is going to be on them this game to be able to push us to a game 3 and execute on this draft. I'm definitely going to be keeping my eyes on the Xerath and definitely on Comet Cruiser on this Corki, because this Corki is a strong champion, but with low range, it can be very difficult into what Chill Guys has drafted.
Yeah. But with that, we will take it to a break as we wait for the spectator delay. But I am super excited to see how this game turns out. Hopefully the Xerath is able to one-shot people without even being touched, or maybe Gix just smurfs it on Diana again. So we'll see you guys in a few minutes. Welcome back, Summiters, to Game 2 between Anglers Won't Back Down and Chill Guys. We did watch Game 1 just a few minutes ago, and Chill Guys kind of took it with a pretty significant lead later into the game. I'm your host, Gargoomba. With me today is Chong. Well, nice to meet you again.
Yeah, I mean, long time no see. Been a minute since we got to talk. Um, but looking at everything, we got pretty much stock standard across the board. We got the Arcane comment on Xerath, the classic one here. There's a little trade there on Injustice and Locopoco, still going at it. Locopoco gonna get the better of that one thanks to the passive, but you know, Seeker trying to get a ward. Won't back down. Was there, not letting him get that early one. Getting a little bit of trade here between the supports. Early supportal combat, always fun to see.
I am curious on the E start from Injustice on Cassante. I'm not exactly sure if getting Shield Bash is really that important. But we do see both teams invading towards the opposing Raptors, and Gummy Power walking by himself may have been in a pretty difficult position if they actually wanted to go for it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a lot of threat between these two comps in the early game to lock somebody down unless everybody's lined up with Seeker there to get the passive, but a little bit of early trading out in the mid lane, nothing going to come out of that. A little bit out of top lane, you know, just a little bit of fun before the minions actually connect there in both waves. But overall, these teams just going to look to farm up these early waves. Seeker already getting a little bit of pressure here in the bot lane. Won't back down, going to get chunked here thanks to the Rom passive. The stacks stacking up in the spread across, but Seeker takes the worst of that trade and already has to burn the early pot while Won't back down. Going to chug his late, and thanks to that Alistair passive, is going to be able to heal up throughout the lane every time, you know, that 7th minion does die in the lane.
It's okay, Seeker did take Biscuits, which means the Biscuits get more value the lower health you are, so I think he's fine with that trade. As you can see, his health is basically the same as Alistair's at this point. But we do have some trading topside. Now that Cassante finally has his Q, it's just going to be a lot easier to do the early trades in the pop because she doesn't really have... She should take Steadfast Presence level 2, so...
Oh, a nice trade from Locopoco there. But yeah, like you said, Injustice should win these early trades up until level 3 when that Steadfast Presence does come out from Locopoco and is able to just kind of deter everything. But a nice shield toss into Grasp proc. This way you always like to see out of Poppy getting that long range poke down.
Yeah. You see the wave bot side pushing back towards Chill Guys, which definitely is a really spot you want to be. Considering the fight that happened earlier, Goblin was just able to 3-hit I Won't Back Down super hard. And with how much pressure they provided from that, it's just really difficult for Anglers Won't Back Down to actually be looking for anything if the wave pushes back into them.
Yeah, and also in this top lane, Justice doing a good job on these trades, but also Locopoco did take a tower shot trying to catch some of that wave that was under turret, so he could be a little bit worse for wear. He's out of pots, but we see that Injustice did go with the Biscuits, similar to Seeker in the spot lane, so he will be happy, but an early fight is going to happen here on this Scuttle Crab. Gumby Power going to have to run away. A nice W there, nice miss, but they're going to turn back onto Won't Back Down. He's going to get CC'd up, gets a nice pulverized headbutt combo, and they're already on the back onto Goblin here. It exhaust goes onto Gumby Power. He's going to go down early. A nice rotation out of Cisco. Won't Back Down is going to be in trouble now. We'll see a TP out of Locopoco. Gets the heroic charge into the wall, and that's already feats of warfare going over to Chill Guys at 4 minutes in this game over a Scuttle Crab.
What is going on, bro? Do we have Blabber on the enemy team? What's going on?
Wow, I was not expecting some action this early in the game with what we have seen drafted here from both teams.
That is... that was crazy. Locopoco TPing secure the kill there, but no, that was just really well played from Chill Guys. I don't really like the fact that we're fighting over bot spell this hard, considering that Savior didn't really have the mana nor the lane presence to roam in time. And we did also see like Gummy Power had to burn the hollowed rain. I don't remember what it's called, but
I just call it the mist. I just call it the mist, man. I don't know.
That makes sense.
I don't know every ability name in this game, sadly. I'm not as good as the professionals that we have in the LTA.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have my little cheat sheet with me either. But regardless, Xerath just wasn't in a good spot, and Gwen already had to burn her most important ability just trying to get out. So it wasn't exactly a look I'm super happy about for back down.
And Loco Poco gets a really nice trade up there in the top lane onto Justice. We saw the heroic charge, the steadfast presence to stop the Cassante from getting that E forward, and then an immediate heroic charge into the wall. Really good trade pattern here out of Loco Poco, really knowing how to play this Poppy, which is really tough sometimes if it's not a champion you play a lot against in solo queue, because she does way more damage than you expect her to in these early levels. He's getting a big chunk there.
Loco Poco is taking this matchup in stride. Like, this is super hard for Cassante to play it out, and Loco Poco is using the best of his knowledge to punish super hard. Like, I don't think Injustice has been able to play the game really at all. We do have Gix hovering topside. This could be a play here.
Oh, and Seeker's also up here. Goblin alone in the bot lane. Injustice gonna start training onto Loco Poco here, but he might know something is up because I think Loco Poco should have ticked 6 at this point, but nothing gonna happen. We're gonna see the Grub start up here, and you know it's gonna be tough. Oh, nice ultimate there out of Cisco. Gets the kill, and Savior burned the flash and still goes down in the end. Really well played by Cisco, knowing that he had the burst damage there, and a nice steadfast presence there at a Loco Poco, train onto Injustice of heroic charge. A nice ultimate still going in for it, but he's out of mana, and Gummy Power is here. Flash road by Injustice. He's gonna get the ultimate off, and Loco Poco gonna have the flash away, but Cassante has so many dashes, so many abilities to stick on top of you, Seeker here. The mist is down, but it doesn't matter. Cisco's also up here. Gummy Power getting chunked down. Another steadfast presence onto Gummy Power when he tries to go in. Cisco already on a killing spree. Gix not gonna fancy diving the Cassante under turret, but Loco Poco getting just enough mana back to get that steadfast presence up to trap Gumby Power in a spot he did not want to be.
Yeah, that was just super unfortunate for English won't back down. They definitely wanted to try to get top play on top of Loco Poco as fast as possible because they knew the Grubs was gone. But it's because the Grubs were gone that the Guild guys were just able to come top lane and finish off Gumby. So not exactly the best look for them as they try to look for a desperate play topside. Chill guys are just going to take this 5-0 lead in stride. They're going to probably run down straight to this dragon now that Goblin did see some of the BF over Corki at the moment. So there's not really a room for English won't back down to contest it at all.
I mean, Corki is on his early power spike. He does have that Sheen that does give him a lot of damage, but it could be really hard. We saw, like, Chill guys already playing out their team comp really well. Cisco and Gix already off to a really strong lead. And like I was saying, Vex could have a hard time, you know, just one-shotting these squishy targets, it feels like, in the late game. But with the lead that Cisco has, I don't think that's going to be the case here. But some nice poke coming out, Savior onto Cisco with the Arcano Pulse and the Eye of Destruction. Again, damage down. Gummy Power going in onto Gix here, but it doesn't look like it's gonna matter. Oh, the ult synergy is a mess up, and the right of the Arcane trying to snipe down Gix, but it's not enough. Gumby Power gonna have to run away, but since Cisco does not have the ultimate, the Super Mega Death Rocket from downtown, Goblin snipes Gumby Power as Loco Poco gonna trade up here in the top lane again onto Injustice. Injustice not gonna let him back down from this one. Now that he knows how the steadfast presence is down, he's gonna look to trade, but now Seeker is in a lot of trouble, having to walk back towards Goblin here. Not much gonna happen, but in the top lane we see more trading between Loco Poco and Injustice, and Loco Poco is liking what he's seeing. He's seeing red in the water, a nice steadfast presence there, and knocks him away from the turret, but he gets pulled back by the all-out from Cassante, and he still gets under the turret because he gets that extra dash and map coverage because he gets to pull somebody a little bit back with that ultimate.
Yeah, every single part of the map is just getting diffed. Chill guys has been proving to be the stronger competitors over English won't back down at the moment. And Gwen is not being able to play towards her style of just being able to power farm and scale later is really hampering like any sort of gameplay they want to play for. So unless they're able to stop this bleeding as fast as possible, I don't really see a way for them to get back home.
Yeah, I mean, Gix on this Diana, again, is showing how strong this champion is in the early levels, just looking to invade and get some nice trades down. But, you know, Savior's doing his best, trying to get some good damage down here. But Gummy Power's in the mid lane. Cisco flashing forward, trying to get the damage out, gets the auto, and he does get the kill onto Savior before he's snip, shut down by Gumby Power. And Cisco, once again, knowing the limitations and the damage thresholds of this champion, able to just squeeze that one out before he gets taken off the map.
Yeah, and we do have Gumby taking up the kill on top of Cisco, but it's still a 1-for-1 trade. I'm not sure that's going to be the best situation for them, especially since Xerath really needs gold in order to start coming online. But with how mobile Gix and Loco have been around the map, it's just impossible to Xerath play the game. It's impossible for Gwen to farm at all because he just keeps facing them, just because of how much of a lead they've established. So I'm not really sure what lane here is going to be able to give pressure for English won't back down at all. Maybe Corki once he starts getting his Triforce, just because he's able to poke out the enemy front line from range, but like I don't see how any of them can approach anything right now.
Yeah, and I mean, I was talking about Cisco early. He is so strong right now alongside Gix. They're both already at 1 item in this game at 11 minutes. They are the carries right now. They're going to let Goblin scale up, who also, I just realized, is on a fully completed item as well. He's got that Yuntal in his back pocket, going to be stacking that one up early, and even has the brown bags to go along with it. But look, Poco taking a lot of damage here from Comet Cruiser. But I think he's going to be okay in the long run. He's going to clear out this wave, look to back off. But, I mean, they might not let him. Oh, the headbutt canceled by the Steadfast Presence as they look in to set up a dive here onto Injustice. We see them pulling the wave away from the turret and putting Injustice in a bad spot. But knowing that's a Cassante, he's got everything. We're not going to want to be this one. Backing off, Gix taking that recall, and Loco Poco. We see him waiting in the bush, looking for something in the spot lane, but he doesn't know it's going to turn into 3v1 so quickly. But a nice Steadfast Presence. Stop with the headbutt again. The Pulverize already went down. He's flashing forward. The nice spacing out of Cosmic Cruiser here. He's stunned up, and it doesn't matter. Another snip out of Gumby Power, picking that one up. And Loco Poco just a little too aggressive, not knowing he was severely outnumbered there.
Yeah, well played from Comet Cruiser. He was able to space out and bait the Loco's flash Q from Poppy, so that was extremely important. Not only do they burn the Poppy flash for free, but Gumby is able to pick up a pretty significant gold lead back towards his favor. So now that Gwen's got this needlessly large rod and the Nashor's Tooth, she should be able to just blow people up later. So this is kind of what we were talking about, just being able to get gold back on top of their like main carry and getting something, you know, as a win con.
Yeah, I mean, that's where you got to hope for right now, because that's already 6 grubs picked up by Chill Guys. They're going to pick up this Dragon. So they're once again going to pick up the feats of warfare in this game like they did in that game number 1. All across the map, just a snipe from the Super Mega Death Rocket onto Savior there. Maybe trying to just cancel the base that the clock could be coming out. But, you know, it's just a little bit of trunk damage. Maybe it's going to, like, lighten him up for Cisco to get that burst damage that he's looking for. But overall, just a nice tempo play, getting that Dragon, Feats of Warfare over to Chill Guys.
These Arcane Blasts have been hitting pretty accurately now, though. But we do have Cassante now, the Iceborne Gauntlet's pinning Poppy under the tower. I thought he would have ulted there by now, but it's going to be a super long trade topside.
Yeah.
As we do see Gumby Power coming
Gumby Power's up here in the top lane, but they're also looking in the bot lane at the same time. Loco Poco going to be able to make this one work. He's getting some good damage onto Injustice, but he gets all outed. He gets snipped down again, and Gumby Power starting off the game a little bit rough, picking up 3 consecutive kills here. And Cisco going to pick up his 4th plate in this mid wave, building a huge gold lead for himself, as now the more pressure from bot lane with Seeker and Goblin picking up a turret here for them. Oh, sorry, turret plate here for themselves. But gets into the top lane. He's going in onto the Cassante and the Gwen. He gets the ultimate out, but it doesn't matter. Too little, too late. He gets snipped down, and the Rites of Arcane gets Cisco solo. He's looking for the Arcane Pulse, and it misses. Just missed on one right of the Arcane, which would have taken Cisco down there. So close by Savior, and also so close by Gix up in that top lane.
Yeah, but thankfully, Gwen started Needle actually started hitting, and with the triple ulti blasting into Gix, like, that's a lot of damage being dealt to by Gumby Power, and that's just going to be able to get more gold towards this hyper carry Gwen jungle. Now, I will say, bot lane has been kind of chilling for Chill Guys. They haven't really been pressured at all, and because of that, they're just able to provide such a gold lead for Goblin over Comet Cruiser right now. And they might be able to just break this tower for the first feed of... I don't know.
no, Cisco's in a
But
lot of
Cisco might be
trouble
the best
here.
off.
Gumby Power's on top of him, snipping him down. And I mean, Gumby Power is online on this Gwen. He's in at 5-3 right now. Like you said, he's on that Nashor's Tooth. He's on that Needless Large Rod. Maybe that's what you need to start being a threat in this game. And that's exactly what he needed, able to start becoming a threat on this map. And Cisco, maybe a little bit too aggressive there, as Injustice is gonna get some nice turret pressure here, but it's gonna be rotated back up by Loco Poco. Goblin gonna pick up the first turret here for his team, and I don't know if he wins this one. He's gonna try to kite this one out, but it might be too little too late. They were trying to get Gumby Power to pick that one up, but the shutdown goes over to Cosmic Cruiser on this Corki.
Yeah, and I mean, it's fine just because, like, I feel like we have to have more than one carry on the Gwen, because as soon as Gwen dies, there's not really any damage from anyone else, and anyways will back down. So, I mean, it's pretty good to get the Corki online now, and they're going to be able to return the tower. I don't think Cisco... Cisco might be able to hold it.
Yep, able
Yeah,
to hold it there. It gets a nice amount of damage onto Won't Back Down there. He could look for something if he's feeling frisky. You see him trying to position forward. But now this is also going to be Rift Herald going over to Chill Guys. So it's going to be a Rift Herald with the backing power of 6 Grubs. So this destruction power that this objective is going to have is going to be massive on this map. As, you know, nothing really going to happen right now. They're going to pick it up, take the reset. You know, Goblin in the mid lane can pick up the CS, take a little bit of damage from the Arcano Pulse from Savior, but overall, nothing gonna happen right now unless it is pushed by Chill Guys now that they have this Rift Herald.
Yeah, and depending on where they want to place it, I know Peak Performance would be yelling right now to drop it top side just so that they can get the boosted gold from the side objective or side towers, just because the side tier 2 towers provide more gold than the mid tier 2 towers, so especially with the 6 Grubs, I'm sure that wouldn't be an easy tier for them. And we do have a back ulti landing mid lane.
I don't think he's going to follow, but he's going in on it, and he's going to get snipped down here by Gumby Power. He hits the needlework onto one, but Comet Crusader is also here, and they're looking for the Rites of the Arcane on to Goblin and the rest of the team as Seeker and Cisco go down. Goblin is super low, had to use the barrier on the last Rites of the Arcane to be able to live, and what a turnaround by Anglers Won't Back Down once Cisco went flying in thanks to that Vex ultimate. Oh, and this isn't over. They're looking to pressure. It's going to be Gix and Loco Poco against the world. They're going to try for it. A nice
the Alistar knockup!
Oh, the headbutt by the knockup from One Back Down. Loco Poco going to get another shot down, and it doesn't matter. A nice ultimate from Goblin trying to pick up that kill onto Gumby Power, but tanked by Won't Back Down, so it does not matter. And Anglers Won't Back Down are not going easily into the night. They are fighting back in this game number 2.
Yeah, you could pick the low-hanging fruit and say they're not backing down, but that was a lot of big gold swing. They actually have a gold lead over Chill Guys right now, and with it, they're able to pick up that first Hextech Drake, which is definitely going to be super significant just because Gwen and Corki all really want the cooldown reduction and attack speed from the Hextech Dragon. So also being able to deny that from Diana and Jinx too is super big.
Yeah, I definitely think Cisco played a little too big for his britches there, trying to go in and get that kill on the Savior, but it was turned around so well by Anglers Won't Back Down. They're able to pick up the mid turret themselves, and even then, Loco Poco and Gix thought they could 2v4, but just quickly snuffed that play out. Was Anglers Won't Back Down, picking up another 2 kills with rotating the Dragon, but now Gumby Power gonna be in some trouble here. Loco Poco is here, he gets the blue buff. They're looking to get a little bit of damage on him, but nothing gonna come out of that one. Just gonna back out of the jungle here and go back to that mid wave.
Yeah, even with the gold advantage right now, Chill Guys have shown a lot of good macro. They're able to just keep the mid priority going before they go for these objectives. And we do have Loco Poco doing his best to walk into a lane. I Won't Back Down, just headbutting him away from all that. We do have the top side of the map slow pushing towards Chill Guys' top lane. So, depending on how they want to play around with that, there's not really an objective they can go for. Baron's up in 5 minutes, Otacon's up to 26. They could play for the Otacon actually, as Chill Guys is starting their resets to essentially look for a fight there.
Yeah, I mean, we also see Cisco pushed in that bot wave. He's going to start rotating up halfway, creeping in case there is a fight. But Gumby Power, you can see him waiting in that bush, looking for something if it is fished out by the rest of his team. But the channel is going to come here. He is seen thanks to that scrying plant, thanks to that Chemtech Rift that we are on with the empowered plants. Getting a little bit of increased range on those Scryer Blooms is definitely helpful to suss out any of these plays. But Otacon is getting started up here by the side of Anglers went back down because Gix had taken that recall, and they do a lot of damage to this because of Gumby Power. But a TP being channeled here by Loco Poco Seeker already walking in, trying to get in there to stop this contest. Goblin and Gix are here. They're looking for it. It goes over to Anglers went back down, but the fight is starting up. Oh my gosh, the Mega Death Rocket is in. A shutdown onto Gix. This Goblin is reset, and he is looking to fry up some Anglers. Another kill over on Won't Back Down, and in goes Savior. Cisco on to Common Crusader, but it doesn't matter. The rest of the team is here. Goblin is still free firing. Instinct is going to get the kill onto Loco Poco, and it looks like at the end of the day, it is going to be a 3-for-3. Both junglers go down, both supports, and a top for an 80 carry.
Yeah, get there. Cisco was on top of the teleport there, and Justice kind of showed up a little too late too for that fight. And it definitely wasn't a good spot to be in if you were Anglers went back down. Even though they do secure the Otacon, the after fight is just super brutal because Otacon can reduce your armor and magic resist by 50%, and that's super brutal for a team that really wants to burst you down through the Vex and Diana. So by not being able to finish that off faster, they're just gonna have to deal with 50% increased damage from everybody just because of that Otacon debuff. And by the time Injustice was able to show up, the fight was already over.
Yeah, and because that fight went even as it did, a few shutdowns went over to Chill Guys, that gold lead that Anglers won't back down had is dead even again. Even a slight advantage here for Chill Guys. And I mean, Goblin was basically untouched in that fight. Yes, he didn't pick up any of the kills, but we can see what this Jinx can start to do if she is untouched in these team fights and is online. A little bit delayed, not going for that early BS or, IE that we see a lot of times. But Loco Poco doesn't know that Gumby Power is sitting here waiting for him to start fighting, but Seeker is on his way here. Loco Poco takes so much upfront burst damage from Gumby Power. A nice steadfast presence, but going to have to flash away at the end of the day. What a crazy amount of damage by Gumby Power. But the rest of the squad is here from Chill Guys. A nice two-man Glacial Fissure into a Moonfall. They have to burst Gumby Power because he's going to get the damage out, and he goes down to Goblin. Oh my gosh, right to the arcade onto everybody. A nice bit of damage, but they're able to kite it out so well. Goblin is kiting, and he gets the second kill. Never mind, it goes over to Gix onto Won't Back Down. A 3-for-1, as I didn't realize that Injustice had TP'd in, or no, who died? Oh, Won't Back Down, my bad. I am going crazy over here.
It's okay, you're doing your best because these fights are getting super crazy now. Gumby Power definitely thought that he had the advantage over Loco Poco as he was sitting in the bush, but the problem is that, look at the map, all of the bot side jungle of Anglers Won't Back Down is completely red warded, so nobody on Anglers Won't Back Down has any idea where anyone in the map is if they walk down here. So that is exactly how that play goes out. Loco Poco is able to just rush towards the team. Even if he does go down, his entire team is there to just pick up the rest of the kills. And now they're just going to be able to take a Drake for free, and they might just be able to set up for this Baron setting coming up in like a minute and a half. Gumby is looking super aggressively towards their jungle. He wants to try to stop them from being able to reset for the items after the fight, but I don't think there's going to be anything they can find.
They're looking to pick up Gix here, but they might turn their focus onto Loco Poco if they sussed him out in this bot lane. It looks like Loco Poco trying to stay around in case something does break out, not fully channeling or committing to this recall yet. We know where everybody is on the map now. We see Vex and Goblin in the mid lane trying to pick up that wave in response, but this could be a pick onto Goblin here if they go for it. Won't back down, is starting to pressure. He flashes over the traps. He gets onto Goblin, and oh my gosh, they just burst him instantly. Gumby with the needlework into a full channel snip, able to just delete the 80 carry off the map and tries to get the needlework onto Cisco, but Cisco getting that power blast going out of there. And that could be Baron pressure here for the side of Anglers Won't Back Down. They just don't have the vision control yet. Gumby Power in a little bit of trouble, but Won't Back Down is here to back up his junglers, not letting him get picked out here as they start to position around this Baron that is spawning in 25 seconds.
Guys, I didn't see where the Jinx But one moment she was walking around, the next moment she's just lying flat on the floor. But with that kill going to Gumby Power, that was a lot of gold. Getting pushed on top of their hyper carry again. This Baron's gonna be up in 4 minutes, or 4 seconds, sorry. Depending on how they want to play this, Gumby's just gonna be able to reset and probably finish up this Shadow Flame.
Walking towards his bot lane right now, so maybe not looking for that reset. But we saw this last game of how quickly Chill Guys was willing to just commit and pull the trigger onto the Baron, and they could look to do the same thing because Gumby Power is going all the way to his Krugs right now. They do have some good damage to take it down if they want to go for it because they do have Goblin on this Jinx, but not looking to commit for it yet. It's a little risky, and we see the channel now finally coming out from Gumby Power, but Gix is at the Baron. Won't Back Down has vision of them, so they know that this is being started up and being pressured here. But Gumby Power has to cancel the recall. He doesn't get to spend that gold that you were talking about, and has to sprint up towards this top lane, and maybe that's exactly what Chill Guys was looking for. But it looks like we're positioned for a fight. Won't Back Down walks into Seeker on this romp. He's going to get knocked back thanks. He actually gets help there. The Rites of the Arcane comes out. He misses 1, misses 2, misses 3, hits 4, misses, well, hits 4 just on the tail end of Goblin there. But that is a big amount of burst damage from that ultimate that is now missing. Won't Back Down has to pop the Alistar ultimate, the Unbreakable Will. He's going to try to kite this one out. He does have so much damage reduction, but he does get out a nice E there from Savior to help save his support there. But now Gumby Power is basically going to have to 1v5 this, but they'll see him walking in if they want to contest this one. Like I said, they have a lot of damage here on Chill Guys. It looks like this is going to go uncontested. Another uncontested Baron over to Chill Guys. Never mind, we got the blue ward out here. We see the team coming to try to stop this one. Injustice is so far away. Gumby Power dodges the ultimate out of here from Loco Poco. They're going to try to kite this one out. Loco Poco is bursted down, and that's not what you want in this fight. The Jinx gets the reset. Vex has a reset. They're looking to go in. They are on to Injustice and to Comet Cruiser. They go in. The Mega Death Rocket down. A double kill for Cisco. Triple kill for Cisco. Kicks picking up the support in the back line with the help of his AD carry. And that is a full 5-man ace for the side of Chill Guys and a Baron buff to boot.
The fight went so crazy that my ping started spiking, so yeah, this is not really a good setup for English Won't Back Down. They reacted far too late to the Baron call from Chill Guys, and I thought they were going to try to go for a cross map by having Injustice shove bot and Gumby shove mid, but they ended up trying to contest the Baron that was basically already gone, and Gumby can't exactly do any damage with Braum in front of him. His ultimate is just gonna get blocked by the Braum shield, as we saw through like most of these fights where Seeker was present. So Gumby isn't gonna be able to get as much damage and healing as he'd want to with his ultimate, and it just screws him over because now he's just stunned from the Braum passive, and then he's feared from Vex. So he can't exactly play the match without I Won't Back Down or Injustice to help frontline for him.
Yeah, and I mean, Chill Guys played that fight extremely well. They were able to instantly burst Gumby Power on this Gwen to just remove that big chunk of damage that is on Anglers Won't Back Down. And I mean, Gumby Power did a really good job. He did dodge the ultimate there from Loco Poco, so isn't ejected out of the fight even though Loco Poco was in the mist, but it didn't seem like it mattered because he got stunned so fast thanks to the excited reset from Jinx. But now this Dragon, because of tempo, is going to go over to Anglers Won't Back Down, so it's 2-2 on Dragons. We're not going to be getting that soul anytime soon, and they're going to be looking for a fight here. Loco Poco is going to try to kite away. Needlework number 2 onto Loco Poco, trying to save for number 3. We see TP coming out from Cisco. It's going to be in the middle of the team, but the fight is started up. The eject onto multiple people. Oh my gosh, they're going crazy. Once again, this Gwen is down. They're going on to the Cassante now. He is down. Cisco getting the resets alongside his Jinx on these, going crazy. Another double kill. He does go down in the end. The Sniper is not going to get the reset, but it doesn't matter because Goblin is the one who gets the reset. That is a 5-man ace, and it looks like that's going to be the end of the game because there is a wave in the mid lane. They got 6 grubs. They got the Baron buff. It looks like we're getting a Chill Guys 2-0 here tonight.
Yeah, that was just super well played from Chill Guys. They got the setup off, and even though Loco Poco was definitely getting super chunks from Gumby Power, it did not matter because the rest of the team is just able to back him up, and by shutting down Gumby Power, there's not really much damage threat outside of Comet Cruiser, and killing both of them super easily what can English do to win that fight at that point? But
Yeah,
yeah,
and
super good gameplay from Chill Guys just all across the game. Even though it definitely looked really rocky there for a bit as Anglers won't back down, got a significant gold swing back in the middle of the game. They were able to just re-coordinate, get a bunch of macro plays going, and pull out pretty simple win after that.
yeah, I mean, Anglers won't back down and definitely showed a lot more life in this game than they did in that first game. Did have that gold lead at certain times, but it feels like at the end of the day, Chill Guys just knew what they were doing and able to execute on it better. The resets with the Jinx and the Vex went crazy in a couple of those team fights. It makes it really hard to play for Anglers. If that Gwen is down and that Corki isn't being peeled because the Alistair is going in for the engage, can be really difficult sometimes. So Chill Guys really playing the back half of that game well with their comp that they had drafted and showing us again that this Diana is actually a super strong champion in the hands of Gix.
Gix is crazy, man. How can you can't sleep on him, even if he is probably the lowest ranked on their team. You can't sleep on him.
He didn't need the fiddlesticks like he wanted to see in this game. He's just saying, I'll run it back into Diana. I'll do the same exact thing. But also, shout out Gumby Power, man. On this Gwen was super scary, getting those big burst damage and big picks, but was ended up falling just a little bit short, not able to snip that final finish line ribbon to get the team the win here to push us through game 3.
Yeah, it was unfortunate for English won't back down, but I'm excited to see how this lane swapping goes. Hopefully, once they're able to re-coordinate how they want to play their team, as well as just seeing how they start coordinating with their bot lane being significantly different compared to before. Uh, who knows? We could see a like summit success story from the bottom of the barrel to the top of the climb. But with that, that is the Chill Guys versus Angler Won't Back Down series. Thanks for coming out. I was Gargoomba. I'm joined by Chong, and we will see you next week. Summit.